Now, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is under pressure from the United States. I repeat, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is under pressure from the United States to repeal Sharia and blasphemy laws in Nigeria. It is a very, very difficult task for Tinubu to do, repealing Sharia, identity of the North. Removing Sharia from the constitution is one of the hardest things to do. If Tinubu does that, that means he has done the most. But the US is pressuring Tinubu seriously. They are giving him demands. If you want this collaboration to work, you must be able to do these things. So Tinubu is under pressure to repeal Sharia. We know that Sharia is an identity, is a negotiating tool for northern Nigeria. If you take away Sharia, you take away northern relevance. Mind you, it is the Muslim North that have dominated northern Nigeria politically. Almost all the top leaders in North, they are all Muslims. So you can equally say the Muslim North has dominated northern Nigeria politically. So what is Tinubu trying to do? There are two things. You see, if you remove Sharia from our constitution, if you ban blasphemy laws, it will reduce extremism, religious extremism. And religious extremism leads to insecurity, creation of this Islamic jihadist movement that are disguised themselves. These terrorists, Boko Haram, ISIS, they are equally Islamic jihadist movement that are a bit inspired by Sharia. They're just hiding, but really they are Islamic jihadist movement. If you repeal Sharia and blasphemy laws, we will not have religious extremism, and the reduction in religious extremism will not have all these lakurawa people invading communities, because Islam interprets that there is a jihad. You want to conquer lands and install Islam by force, by killing. So this ideology, if it is taken away from our constitution, it does not have to be in our constitution. If not because the Fulani has an agenda to use it to grab political power, it does not have to be in the constitution. You look at the Christians, different denominations, they have the Bible, they have their doctrines, they have the laws that guide them. It doesn't have to be in the constitution. It's not something that you have to put before you start practicing it. I have said it before that look at Muslims in the North, look at Muslims in the South. You now know which one is practicing religion of peace. You now know which one is, the head is correct and okay. The religion you practice go about killing people, and you are trying to convince yourself, not us, that religion is a religion of peace. Any religion, you know, the US pointed blasphemy laws. Any religion that cannot tolerate criticism, that religion is a cult, is a cultist movement. It's an occult. It's only occult movement that do not tolerate criticism. For instance, now anything criticizing Prophet Muhammad, you see some of these elements will take it as blasphemy. And after blasphemy, what is going to end it is killing. Somebody speaks about a human being. I thought blasphemy is of God. Like, if you're going to be blaspheme, it is God that we blaspheme. But Prophet Muhammad, as respected, is not God but a prophet. Any religion that is saying that you should not criticize or scrutinize, because number one, we have thought patterns. If Christians go and share the Bible with you, they have a conversation. They convince you. They don't force you. They don't manipulate you. But you see some other persons, if they come to share their religion, they manipulate you. They force you. They use their power to squeeze you until you don't have any other opportunity to join their religion. They suffocate you. Manipulation, suffocation. That is occultism. Have you seen where all these boys are trying to convince a young person to join cult? For instance, now I read a story about how some of your musicians join cultism. Now, as a rising star, a musician that sang a song, and the song started hitting the waves, becoming popular, and you are not a cultist too. You know what all these cultists, whether I and all these things, what they will do? They'll start witch hunting you. They'll start, like, if you go for a show, they'll go to that show and wait for you at the door and check you whether you join anything, whether you bam. If you not bam, they'll start frustrating you to join cultism. They'll be blocking your shows. They'll block you at the entrance. They'll say, come here, we want to talk to you, blah blah blah. All those mental gymnastics, that's what they use to pressure many people to join cult. That's how some people carry out their religion. They use manipulation, threats, all this, whatever it is. And if you refuse to join them, they are threatening your life. They will threaten your career as a musician. That's why I see most musicians, they join cult against their own will, just because they want to survive in the music entertainment industry. That's why most of them join cult. That is how some people, their religion behave. You are with a Muslim, probably a fanatic, in the same compound. Like I told you about a girl. You left your Muslim country, your Muslim environment, your Muslim family, and went to seek for greener pastures abroad. Now it is time for Ramadan. You are now telling us that why is it that people are eating all around? Why is it that blah blah blah? You are not comfortable. If you are not comfortable, carry yourself and go back to your Muslim country. So wherever they find themselves, if they come to an area, they will not be comfortable with people. They want you to change because of them. They want you to suspend your way of life because of them. And how do they do it? They don't do it by having a conversation. They do it by, like, they frustrate you, they threaten you subtly, they do all sort of manipulative tactics that looks like occultism. I repeat by saying, any religion that is afraid of criticism, that religion is an occult, it's an occultic movement. So now President Bola Tinubu, although a Muslim, will find it difficult to repeal Sharia and what have you. And what is the alternative that Tinubu wants to do? You know, say Tinubu, he likes the placement. You know, say USF, then get them. They get them for no good. Because if it is left to Tinubu, Tinubu wouldn't have wanted the United States to come into Nigeria. I'm telling you. Because I have said it before, the only thing that the United States can do in this respect is to put northern Nigeria on their toes. Don't let them have any breathing space. That is what the United States can do. The United States cannot stop insecurity in the north. It is their religion. It is a way they used to survive in Nigeria. If insecurity stops today, northern Nigeria becomes less relevant. Politically, indigenous groups, ethnic groups in the north will start playing politics and they'll start toppling the Fulani, because what the Fulani uses to conquer and to dominate other tribes, other ethnic groups in the north, it is this extremism. This is their militia, Boko Haram, Fulani, herdsmen, and all have you. Because that's what they used to put them under subjection. For instance, they come to a community. And that community, no one agree for Fulani political leadership. From back, they'll come signal all these their warriors. These are terrorists. The terrorists go on, they terrorize the community, terrorize the leaders, terrorize everybody until they bow down to Fulani political leadership. That is why the other day they were blaming the Sultan of Sokoto, the Caliphate, and Mietiala, that will give these people cover. You give these people the shelter, this terrorist shelter, to carry out what they are doing. You give them assurance. You act as an insurance to the terrorists. So politically, if you take away this extremism, Sharia and blasphemy laws, and any security, the Fulani will become less relevant, because that is what the Fulani use in the first place to get to where it is. Yes, for instance, now in Abia State, probably you have 30% of Fulanis in Abia State, and they don't have a political representation. You know what they will do? They'll start causing chaos. They'll start, you see attacks here and there, villages are being blah blah blah. All of a sudden, when there's a meeting, when they start attacking you, okay, reconciliation meeting, old men will come, we are reconciling, let's reconcile. And then when they come to reconcile, they will start making demands that we need a leadership representing us, blah blah blah. That's chaos that they have created. Will give them a leadership position in Abia State. That's what they do in these communities. When they have gotten a sizable number, they'll start causing chaos, start causing problems. Then when they call for dialogue and all have you, because they have people highly placed in government at the federal level, all those ones say, let them dialogue. When they come for dialogue, they'll use the opportunity of that dialogue to demand for positions, powerful position, political power. So they have used their extremism to secure political power in Abia State, as an example. So if you take away that extremism from them, you have taken away their power from them. I'm telling you, you know, some Biafrans will say that the only solution to Nigeria is dividing Nigeria. Then if you get to that point, there is sense in that. But the US have said that we are not dividing Nigeria now, because if you're talking about dividing Nigeria, other Christians in the north will be at risk of the Fulani. Fulani will just swallow them. That's the reason US is coming out to say we cannot talk about dividing Nigeria now. I told you that if Biafra is going to get ahead, like this Biafra, with all the lobby and all the engagements we have been doing over the years, if US really wanted Biafra, they'll not be looking for excuse. They know what to do. They know what to do. Resolution at the UN, who knows Nigeria? Resolution at the UN, and they vote for it. They vote, then everybody, they call Nigerian government, we have made resolution, you can align with what we have decided. Tinubu cannot say no, because Tinubu does not have what it takes to say that no to the US. Like I told you that this one, the US is in Nigeria, there are so many disadvantages to it. But one of the advantages is that if you keep the Fulani extremists, Fulani political nuts on their toes, so that Tinubu can be able to further his political ambition. This is one advantage to this government. But every other disadvantage, Nigeria has turned to become a puppet of the West, like literally before our faces. It is getting clear and clear by the day. So when you look at all these things critically, Tinubu is in a position, a very tight corner. Because if you repeal Sharia now, can't repeal Sharia, Fulani go unleash their last strength on Tinubu's government. They will carry out, they will likely want to carry out another coup. You can see the insecurity going on. With the appointment of the minister, the defense minister, Musa, with the presence of US, just in Ondo State, they abducted 6 people in the Celestial Church, creating tension in the southwest. See, like I told you, US cannot stop insecurity. They can only manage the excesses politically. They can only put the Fulani militia, whether they are politicians or whether they are normal people in the bush or whether they are people that are carrying guns. It's only to put the Fulani militia on their toes. They will not be sleeping well at night. That's why US is here. US is not here. They're not interested in stopping insecurity. They are here in making sure that Russia, China, the influence of Russia and China, another reason, is their hands is being taken away from Nigeria. They want Nigeria to their own. Even with UK, France, and US, they are working together against Russia and China. And they see Nigeria as a strategic point. If they are able to take over Nigeria, which they have already done, they can fight off China, because they have been accusing Chinese people of stealing Nigeria's resources and paying Fulani bandits as protection. What do the US mean? If I said this in some time, that there are some people that are stealing our resources. They will use terrorists, Boko Haram and terrorists, as people that will guide, like protect them. For instance, now you are traveling through a route and you know that there's Fulani there. You never want, like there are bandits there. You never want to cross that route again. But crossing that route, the people that are stealing your resources, they have clear entrance. They have free entrance. And you cannot tell me that the politicians are not involved and responsible in such. I cannot be a politician or a political leader in my community, and somebody is coming from outside to take our resources. That means I'm not a leader of that community, that I will not know or that I will not challenge. So if these things are going on that secretly, that tells you that politicians have been briefed of those actions. Now US, they make the allegation. If I don't do the allegation, like I don't repeat that for a very long time, someone will ask, DSS will arrest you. You can't tell us who I will. Now US, they made the allegation. US, they made the allegation. So these are the reasons why you see it's difficult. The US is here. And look at the Sahel, the politics in the Sahel. Anything military system of government would not be beneficial to the US. I repeat, military system of government would not be beneficial to the United States. It is democracy, because if you are practicing democracy, they can easily control you through your democratic, because at them get democracy. As Tinubu did now, for instance, Tinubu decides to disobey United States. He decides, I will not follow the steps of the United States. Since you are practicing democracy, they will instigate somebody in your country. They will use that person against you, because there is freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of expression, and blah blah blah. Elections. But if it is a military regime, anybody that even try to oppose the government and campaign against the government, that person is going. That is why US does not like military administration, because it will not help them control you. There's no country like US cannot find a way. Look at what the US is doing to Iran. As sophisticated as Iran is, look at what US is doing to Iran. So that military system is what they don't want. So look at the countries in the Sahel that have turned to military system of governance, that are being ruled by the junta. US wants to use Nigeria to stop all those things, to scatter them and let them revert to civilian rule, whereby it's easier for US to control them and have access to their resources. There's this document that is being put out by Riley Moore. I know most Nigerians have not read it. They have not read it at all. They're just there looking. Okay. So as it stands, why I came out this morning is because of state police. I know some people don't watch to this end, but those that watch, thank you very much. State police. Tinubu wants to use time. Avoid the blasphemy, repealing blasphemy law, and introduce state police. Because state police also will, to an extent, if the right decisions are made, if you're having a state police in a state, let it be indigenous. Let it indigene 70%. Then every other person is 30%. If you can apply that position, then we are good to go. State police will also further reduce insecurity in states. Yes. And if we have state police, the state police should also be very much empowered and trained, like our central policing system. Some people say that the reason why Tinubu sacked Egbetokun was that Egbetokun was not really a fan of the state. He spoke against state police. That's why Tinubu sacked him. Me, I refuse to, that's what people say, the reason that Tinubu sacked him. But I'm thinking, when you look at the current IG of police, Tunji Disu, Egbetokun, if you look at some videos in the past, pictures in the past, you see Tinubu, you see Egbetokun has his aide, you see Tunji Disu, they were his boys then. They're his boys then. When you look at the hierarchy of the police force, those Tinubu's boys that are in high rank, we have Egbetokun and Tunji Disu, the Lagos boys. Very soon, I think 47 days or 48 days, Tunji Disu will not complete a certain age of retirement. So the reasons why, because already Egbetokun has your age don't pass, but the government give that appointment. So when they give you that appointment, you must complete. Even though your age of retirement has gotten like you don't near, if they give you 2 days before your age of retirement an appointment by the government as IG of police, you must complete your 4-year tenure, even though you are close to retirement. So Tunji Disu, look at his date of retirement. In the next 40-something days, he is close to retirement from the Nigerian police force. So why would Tinubu not appoint him so that he will spend 4 years? And he has a proven record. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Tinubu remove Jegbetokun and put Tunji Disu so that Tunji Disu no go come retire. Then he cannot be able to appoint him again as his Lagos boy. It's not about he speak against no Tinubu appointee can speak against state police like Tinubu's boys, because most of the people you see in government, they are Tinubu's loyalists. So none of them can speak against state police. That is my own opinion. I don't believe that. They say according to insider, blah blah blah. Now I'm looking at the fact that Tunji Disu will soon retire, and if he retire, he cannot be appointed as IG of police. So Tinubu just okay, Egbetokun, you can step down. This guy has for 8 days. At least he has done. Let him continue. Let him continue. State police is the next thing on the mind of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to use in replacement of repealing Sharia, because it's going to be a very long work. It is one thing that if Tinubu does, then restructuring of Nigeria becomes over easy. Telling you, take away the power of these guys. Sharia is their power. They used to seize political power through extremism and jihad and manipulation and all this. I don't understand. God should help some people. So he has told the governors that state police is a must, that we must be committed to this state policing so that we can be able to achieve, because one of the worst things, Tinubu has become worse in insecurity. Very worse. Worse than Buhari. Worse than Jonathan. Worse. Every other thing might be trying to get it in a way, but insecurity, he failed woefully. Somebody might say the reason why he moved in Special General of Police is because of insecurity. I say with Tunji Disu, you see, if you know what we call political will to carry out a policy, to do something as a politician, the political will, if they want to do it, but they don't want to step on toes. They are politicians. They don't want to step on toes. But I believe that if people win that 2027 election, you can't see the real deal. The things that he wouldn't have done in his first term, he go double in his.
While the president of America, Donald Trump, and Nigeria's president Bola Ahmed Tinubu and their cohorts are fooling Nigerians and the world at large. Insecurity has continued to escalate in Nigeria. Despite all the confidence, all the encomiums being poured on the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu by the world community, Nigerians are facing the music of armed banditry attacks in various communities across the country. This last week, today is Sunday, February 8, 2026. So this last week, oh my God, as horrible as ever. Because as I said, insecurity is unrelenting in Nigeria without any sign of American intervention. There's no sign. I don't know whether to call it American intervention or American interference, because I think it's more of interference than intervention. You know, more of distraction and deception. Dupe that the American president Donald Trump is duping Nigeria because of the renegade rulers of Nigeria, incompetent, oh my God, lacking confidence, lacking sincerity of purpose, oh God, and subjected to foolery of genocide against Christians in Nigeria. While terrorist attacks are pervasive, yes, more in Muslim communities than in Christian communities, but of course, it cuts across, because when you talk of Benue State, Plateau State, Nasarawa State, or you talk of Southern Kaduna, this may be Christian areas, but there are many other areas that are Muslim and experiencing not less catastrophic killings and destructions across Nigeria. So in this video, let us examine what happened this last week in nutshell. In Kwara State, more than 170 killed in Kayama local government areas of Kwara State. Kayama local government area of Kwara State. In Woro and Nuku villages. Killed by who? By Islamic extremists. Trying to impose their own form of Islam on the two villages, and attacked for rejecting the move by the extremists. And as I said in another video, that is coming from politicizing Islam and Christianity by the government itself, attacking the Boko Haram Muslim community on the basis of unorthodox Islam. You know, failure to leave Nigeria where the constitution leaves it, in the private realm. To leave Muslims to fund their pilgrimage boards or forget about their pilgrimages. Ditto Christians. You know. But in Nigeria, even for hijab, people can be killed and nothing will happen. Not to mention accusation of insulting Prophet Muhammad or the Quran or Islam itself. Now, that is Kwara State alone. And to mention what the most grievous incident in Kwara State this last week. This last week in Kaduna State. I think this one happened yesterday. Yesterday, 3 a.m. around 3 a.m. Saturday. Yesterday, you know, around 3 a.m. in the dead of the night. A Catholic priest was abducted. 10 other persons and 3 persons killed in Kaduna State. Let's go to Borno State and limit our mention to four soldiers feared dead. 4 soldiers feared dead. And so we just limit it to that, not to mention civilians, properties destroyed, and all of that. Even as America is claiming, President Donald Trump and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu claiming to be working together and to be strategizing together since about 2 months. And they have been at it since 2014, when the presidency of Barack Obama deployed some personnel to Nigeria to come and help to rescue the about 300 Chibok secondary school girls abducted by Boko Haram, for which Nigeria's rulers will have been expected to use that as a leverage for peaceful resolution of the crisis, other than the Fulani Muslim imperialists are insisting no peaceful dialogue, but compulsory, mandatory, inevitable annihilation of the community. For what reason? Unorthodox Islam. Now, that is Borno State, the original home state of the Boko Haram Muslim community, peaceful until attacked by government forces in the name of unorthodox Islam. Now, Katsina State, about 30 persons killed. Some people say despite negotiation with the armed bandits, but the Katsina government will tell us the situation would have been worse without dialogue with the Boko Haram Muslim community. And of course, the head is corrupt, and that is the federal government. The dialogue is the local initiative of the state government, not the federal government, that is unrepentant on the war against the Boko Haram Muslim community, on herdsmen terrorism, and on looting Nigeria's oil well in the name of fuel subsidy. Okay, so Katsina State government, it's not the first time you are dialoguing with the armed bandits to bring peace to your state. But you see, when a part of the body is sick, the whole body is sick. That is the problem. But don't give up in doing your best to procure peace, because the prevailing situation in Nigeria is fueling criminalities. We can't run away from it, including the criminal rulers of Nigeria waging an unjust and avoidable war against the Boko Haram Muslim community, condoning herdsmen terrorism, grazing of cattle in agrarian fields, and looting Nigeria's oil wealth in the name of fuel subsidy, rather than using Nigeria's oil well to develop Nigeria for the benefit of Nigerians in general. So these are the underlying factors that is making it hardly possible for you. But you are doing your best, you know. Okay, 30 persons killed in Katsina State, dialoguing with the armed bandits. What about the more than 170 killed in Kayama local government area of Kwara State? And in different parts, not to mention the different parts of the other side, the Kwara South experiencing similar attacks, including abduction of traditional rulers. Yes, in Yoruba areas of Kwara State. So that is it. The unrepentant Fulani Muslim imperialists. Until government agrees to put religion where the constitution puts it, in the private realm. If you can't fund your pilgrimage boards or your pilgrimages, it's not the business of Nigeria. Until that is done, Nigerians will not enjoy Nigeria. That is it. Except the privileged ones sending their children overseas for Western education, and they themselves going overseas when they are sick. Now we go to Benue State. 2 incidents to be mentioned this last week. One is the attack on a market where many market women were abducted and the market set ablaze. The second incident was cattle rustling. 1 person killed, cattle rustled in Benue State, both in Benue State. Then we go to Kebbi State. Finally, Kebbi State. Armed bandits attacks. At least 1 person killed, many wounded in Kebbi State. Those are what we gather from the newspapers in nutshell this last week. Today is Sunday, beginning of another week. Well, we can't hope for the best. We can only pray for the best. Yeah, in the sense that when somebody is eating what is creating problem for him or her, so cannot expect the problem to go away. That is our problem. Nigerian rulers are unrepentant in their Islamization agenda of imposing a jihadist war on the nation. They are unrepentant on condoning herdsmen terrorism, grazing of cattle in agrarian fields. And they are unrepentant in the looting of Nigeria's oil wealth in the name of fuel subsidy. So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu broke the camel's back when he said no more fuel subsidy, no more electricity subsidy, no more subsidy for education, for anything, and imposed tax of all sorts on Nigerians, paying workers less than living wage, and floating fraudulent palliative schemes, fraud-prone palliative schemes, student loan, transferring loan to indigent cities. Oh my God, things like that, as if to make up for no more fuel subsidy, no subsidy for anything, yet paying workers less than living wage, and what still sinking Nigeria in worse debts than ever. Even the electricity is in shambles. So where do we go from here? Of course, many Nigerians have said, oh God Almighty, we can only turn to you. But we must not run away from the fact that the prevailing situation, the misrule of Nigeria. What type of children do you expect from the misrule other than what we are experiencing now? Islamic and Christian imperialisms. The Christian Association of Nigeria, Northern Wing, has commiserated with Kwara people and eulogized the president for his intervention. Which intervention? The security forces did not arrive in Kayama until 10 hours after the incident. That is the extent to which President Tinubu is ruling Nigeria very well in the eyes of Americans, English people, French people, and all the erstwhile slaver countries, in the hands of which President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is putting back Nigeria. God have mercy on us.